Bill Skarsgård as yet another bad guy in 2019? Who knew? A pair of noob criminals breaks into a house and they find out rather quickly that appearances aren't always what they seem in this dark comedy called Villains. It stars Bill Skarsgård, Maika Monroe, Jeffrey Donovan, and Kyra Sedgwick. Villains has a bit of an indie feel to it, which is a bonus in my book. I mean, it still is polished like a big budget film. It just has some of those little quirks here and there, and just the feel of it, and I think maybe even just the story itself that really does remind me of an independent film. I really like the chemistry that all of the characters have. I mean, they're wildly dysfunctional in their own rights, but they really work well together in the story. Now, while everybody is great in this, I particularly enjoyed Kyra Sedgwick. I mean, she's in a role and playing a character that I don't think I've ever seen her play before. And it caught me a little off guard. It made me chuckle. It made me wince. And overall, I really enjoyed her in this. Jeffrey Donovan is also good in this, but there is a thing that he is doing with his mouth or his teeth that got a little distracting here and there throughout it. But overall, I mean, he was fun, and he played his character with this reserved nuance, and just when you see it, you'll understand. But he has this hidden thing in him, or you feel like he's holding back something. Throughout, there's just that buttery charm that he has and that he's just laying on. And then you have the duo of Bill Skarsgård and Maika Monroe. I mean, they feel genuine. Very naive and very kind of clueless at times, but that also added to their charm. I mean, they worked really well together, and you rooted for them. You liked them, even though they're not the best of people. Now, none of the characters are without their faults, but I really enjoyed each of them in their own little ways, even though they're all jacked up. There are some comedic moments in this, but personally, I could have done with more. I mean, it's not overly dark, and it's not overly comedic. And so it's kind of just not an overly dark comedy. And I could have used with a little bit more darkness to it also. I think had they chosen to go down that path just a little bit more, it would have twinged you even more to make you go, ooh, put a lot more tension into it. But overall, it was still fun. I used to have my tongue pierced, and there is a scene in the movie that involves a tongue piercing, and it made me squirm because I could totally feel it. My wife, who didn't have that type of piercing, also squirmed because you're like, no. Now, there's a part towards the beginning of the film that I really wish they would have cut out. Now, if you'd seen the trailer to the film, you kind of know what to expect going in. But if you haven't seen it, this part that they leave in, it kind of removes some tension. And for me, I wish, even though I knew what it was, even though I knew the premise of the film, because I had seen the trailer, I really could have done without this one little brief scene. That I felt that it reduced the tension. It left it open. It kind of showed the cards a little too early before everything was unveiled. And so, surprisingly, Villains has way more heart than I thought it would. I mean, just the way the characters work off of each other, just the way that they interact, the way that I feel about them, all of it is kind of touching in certain ways, in certain off-putting ways, and then in some genuine ways as well. This isn't something that you need to rush right out and see. I mean, in our particular showing, there were a total of 6 people watching this, and there were almost 200 seats available in the theater, so nobody else was rushing to see this either. I still, though, think it is a fun time and a fun watch, so even if you see it on a discount night, or you wait till you see it on Redbox, or even when it comes to Netflix or Amazon or some other on-demand service, that you can really get some enjoyment out of it. There's no nudity, but there is sex, violence, and a whole lot of profanity. I give Villains 3 out of 5 couches. What's the best crime movie you've ever seen? Yeah, that might be hard to narrow that down. Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.